community relies heavily on traditional foods here. If the water is affected and the animals are drawn to the water to survive, and it could be within the traditional foods itself.
Well, I don't think anybody eats fish anymore. Yeah. We don't anyway. They're deformed, like they're bent over, some of them humpbacks and crooked. And some of them, the cheeks are just eaten right off. It's like acid ate them.
I began to notice patients had lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and bile duct cancers. Statistically, I'm not supposed to see more than 1 in 100,000. It is certainly one that can be connected directly with toxins in the environment. I felt a baseline health study should be undertaken, and that didn't happen. The very first visit by the group of physicians from Health Canada, this physician went into the kitchen, grabbed a mug filled with water from the sink, took a swig, put it down, and basically turned and said to her, "There's nothing wrong with the water here in Fort Chip." I thought that was a real shocker, and the community reacted predictably to that. They were very angry that this had happened, and it was a kind of a kick in the face, I guess. Remember that, yeah?
It hurts, like big time.
No increase in dose or anything?
Some increase on morphine, 30 pills a day, I think, or something.
2 or 3 at 2 o'clock and then at 4 o'clock, and at nighttime.
But instead of a cancer study, Dr. O'Connor found himself the target of an investigation. The list of accusations against the doctor was long. He was charged with raising undue alarm in Fort Chipewyan. His reputation under fire, O'Connor had no choice but to leave his practice.
They caused undue alarm to us by doing what they did to our doctor, that the whole community respected. And it wasn't right what they did. And they never consulted with us at all, so they were in the wrong. The governments were in the wrong.
Wherever the leadership of the health board is, they're the ones that's causing all this chaos over here, not telling us the truth, you know. There's got to be something that was discharged somewhere to cause that much pain on our end over here, you know.
I looked into some of the types of cancers that are particularly elevated in Fort Chipewyan, and it's interesting, a lot of them have been linked to hydrocarbon exposures, in other words, exposures to oil and petroleum products. Leukemia and lymphoma, biliary tract cancer, and surprisingly, a very rare cancer called soft tissue sarcoma. As a physician, I've practiced medicine for many years. I've actually never seen a case of soft tissue sarcoma. It's a tragic and very, almost always fatal cancer, and it was surprising to see even 2 cases in a town this small.
In the 1970s, David Schindler's research led to banning harmful phosphates in detergent. He was pivotal in the global fight to curb acid rain. Now he's turning his attention to the tar sands. Over the years, Schindler has watched governments turn water monitoring in the Athabasca River over to industry-funded consultants.
There have been papers that have come out recently showing that you can't reclaim the aquifers, that you can't reclaim the wetlands, that the cost of any reasonable reclamation are so high that there would be no money made on the oil sands. I don't think people realize how big the sacrifice zone is going to be. It's an area slightly bigger than Greece, a third the size of Norway.
The Alberta government claims the tar sands leave the Athabasca River unpolluted, but Schindler is not convinced.
These pollutants are emerging pollutants. The first time it was really shown that at low concentrations they could have long-term impacts was at the Exxon Valdez. Sea otters and Some of the waterfowl are still being affected 18 years after the spill. A lot of these same compounds are in high concentrations in the tar sands. They're toxic at parts per trillion.
The wilderness affected by industry will dwarf what we see today.
Hi.
Oh my God.
We've been catching quite a few of these fish. But the fishermen got frustrated, they just keep on throwing them overboard, you know. We've been finding these fish for a number of years now.
Yeah.
Deformities on northern pike too.
If they're exposed to these chemicals, the studies that have been done indicate that 80–90% of them die before they even hatch, but the ones that do probably end up like that.
It's very scary, you know, and in time I think this lake will be totally destroyed if we don't try to do something about it, you know. I've been a commercial fisherman for 53 years, and the whole Lake Athabasca, I had never ever seen deformed fish in my younger days. And I had lost at least 8 members of my family on cancer. Sometimes when I think about it, I get pretty upset what they had done to our lake and our waters and whatever we have over there to survive on. It's sad to say this, but it's true, you know. We need help.
We hired Erin Kelly to do this. Her specialty had been mercury. And Jeff Short, who'd worked around the Exxon Valdez for 20 years and had developed some really state-of-the-art techniques for monitoring polycyclic aromatics.
We're sampling for metals and pH, and we're looking at different media, including fish, water, vegetation. In the wintertime, we did snow sampling.
Yep, nice pike.
I became a part of this project because of the controversy surrounding it, and because I think that this river and the people that live on it deserve some good science to answer some questions that a lot of people are asking.
Knowing their findings could be controversial, Schindler's researchers are extremely careful in their methods.
We spent months intercalibrating our measurements with those by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. Our other analyses were all done by certified laboratories because they're the only kind of evidence that will stand up in court. We've covered our bases in a lot of ways that most university research wouldn't.
Oil sands are a very unique resource, and oil sands development does bring unique environmental challenges. Alberta's oil sands are concentrated near the Earth's surface. Contaminants are picked up naturally through waterways and enter the ecosystem. As a province, we monitor water quality carefully, and to date, all of the data shows no long-term effects to water quality from oil sands development.